Hey everybody, DayTraderRockStar here with a special market update, a market radar, and the best bets for next week. As you know, at Day Trading Radio, we're going through our March open house. So I'm putting out some free material out there. Lots of our watch lists are available to the public just for a few more weeks. So head over to DayTradingRadio.com, and I have an extensive watch list going out for this next week. Great ones. We've been killing it in the market, and I've been trying to, keep everyone abreast of overall market conditions because we had the February sell-off and then the bounce. But, today we had a tremendous day. This is an update of the S&P chart. So this first part of the video we're going to call the market radar, just talking about the levels and what to expect and where to watch next. Now, the recent high up here, 2788 area, that would be my line in the sand. But we do have a kind of a pennant formation. We have our previous all-time highs, and we have that flash low down here that played out in the beginning of February. So a lot of the talking heads were talking about a retest of the lows, and a lot of people are thinking about just moving up. I'm in the boat that we're going to continue to move higher. Today was a great example of the strength in the market. So we started holding this trend line. I put this trend line in here. And it started holding. The closing price was holding, then the bottom held, and then the bottom held, and then finally broke out. We did run up against a little resistance right here at 2788, and that's what we're talking about. So that was the level that we wanted to pay attention to. We're here right now. The line in the sand has been had. It's funny how we closed right on that. Closed right on it. There's a lot of news out there in the market, not to be political or get into any type of debate on what's right and wrong. You can feel that the markets are liking the progress. It's very strong. It's coming back, and there's an old saying. Everyone has a different opinion on things, but the market will always tell you what's right, and it could smell something good in the economy. You can smell something bad. It reacts, and it'll do its thing, and we're going to continue to push higher if this market deserves to go higher, and that's what it looks like right now. There's a lot of things in play, and not to go over all the news, but you have the North Korea news out there. Trump's going to meet with the leader. That's a big thing. That's a historical thing. It just adds to the positivity of things going forward. The recent tariffs news out there seems to have been taken as a negative first, but now it's not really even playing a part in the market. So a lot of things here working out to the upside, and this tells me that we're going to continue to push back up to the highs, and we're being led by the stronger stocks. Now that's also very important. The strong stocks the leaders are pushing back up to the all-time highs very quickly, where the market here hasn't gotten back up here, but the stronger stocks have been. So those are the ones we're going to be concentrating on. So, Monday's going to be interesting if we get through this area. We'll see what happens on the news, if there's any news that kind of drags us down. If there's no news, maybe we sell off just into a little area of resistance. So I think overall we're going to get back up there. Let's move on to some stocks here in a second. Just want to look at the other chart that I do some of my live analysis on during the day here in the different time frames. Now you can see that area of resistance we got right up against it. That was a key level. Again, zoom out, you still see that pennant formation, the recent high, the recent low. But I want to see that stochastic oscillator here, and you can see it's definitely taking its time getting back into an overbought level, and that's a very positive thing. The only thing we're going to watch out for sometimes is that there is two ways of looking at this. One way is, but we didn't turn over, so I'm looking at this as a slightly more of a positive. If this starts to turn over underneath this 80 line, and we actually start to see that next week, early next week, when we take out the highs, we could be setting up for just a small short-term sell-side divergence, and this could almost start looking like a kind of a wedge pattern. So I want to watch this pattern play out. If we get a little level up here and we start to see this to fail to get above that 80 line, I will take another hedge to the downside, because we've been doing pretty good timing that. But probably not until either we get some news that's really going to force this market down, or we get to a level where we could actually take a high probability setup on a pattern. So that's something to look at. So let's just talk about a couple stocks. Again, the open house is going on, so just go to DayTraderRadio.com to get the full list. Does you have to click on the open house, sign up. Don't put any credit cards in. You're good till March. And there's a lot of traders in the room trading. We're making lots of money these days. We got a lot of good setups going out for next week, and I'm going to share a couple of them with you right now. My best bet going into next week is going to be LUV, Southwest Airlines, and I'm going to show you the chart on this. Now, with the HPS watch list, I send out quite a few stocks. It could be 5 to 10 stocks that are set up to move the following week. And with that, you get a buy trigger or a short trigger, a profit zone, and a stop. And we trade those, and it's automated. You get the alerts on those. You get everything that you need to be getting, especially when I get at it, or if you want to adjust your platforms and take those trades. They're all mapped out for you, and that's the ones we're just really doing well on. So let me show you that one of those. Hold on just a second. All right, here it is, Southwest Airlines. Now, I work a lot of trend lines. There's a lot of different things here I didn't even write down. There's a retracement trend line that comes underneath this price. There is a slight divergence here that's been moving up, and this underlying trend line was really nice, holding above the 200. We kind of flushed it in February because the market did flush down, but it regained that. So we're going to say that this trend line, this blue line underneath this, is still very active, and we have an active trend line that kind of breaks it due to news, but comes back above it. It's still a valid trend line, and we would trade off of it. So it did come back to it, and we bounced, and now it's actually pushing higher. So we're going to buy trigger on this. We expect this to push back up into the bigger pattern, and it just looks good. It looks like Monday could be a breakout on this, and kind of see how fast we could get back up to that level. Now this tends to show up well on the other airline stocks too, because I'm currently in Alaska Airlines, ALK. And a little bit different of a pattern, even though there is a slight underlying trend line. This one has this long downward trend, and we broke out of it once, and then in February we kind of flushed out, but we didn't really push back up. And again, the same technique here. Not this rising trend line, but the downward trend line right here we seem to be holding. So we're going to look for this to pop. I feel like both of these could pop at the same time. There's a gap up above us here at 68 and change. And that's probably will be our first target to get out of that. Now I'm holding Alaska Airlines. So those two airlines are looking good. Probably the other airlines also. The other ones that are going to end up on the watch list are probably Dollar General down here on the lower channel line. There's some interesting ones that you might want to watch going into next week. Apple, we trade that. We scalp that mostly during the day. We have a lot of traders who trade options off of this and trade the weekly options. That's breaking out to all-time highs, and we should continue next week, even if we get a little pullback early in the morning. This is just starting to turn back up. The daily is just extremely strong. It came out of a divergence, and it is starting to rock out. So we do like Apple a lot. And like I said, lots of these stocks are just pushing back up to the highs. The leaders are pushing back up before the market gets there. That means really, just a good stock here. Now, here's Google. This is almost looking like the market. We talked about maybe a rise and wedge in the market, but I wouldn't put that in your mind. I throw trend lines in just to keep track of them. Right now we have to, all these stocks, all these great stocks should continue to move higher. And so Apple and LUV, some of the best bets. I'll throw you one more. General Dynamics, GD. I know not everyone's trading this, but it's a breakout, and it continues to have great strength. So look for this to move early next week. Also to get some follow through. We have some big traders who'll be trading these stocks in the room also. So that, and of course we're in a lot of other stocks than Nielsen and LSN. But I put all this out on the watch list. You can get it. Just go to DayTraderRadio.com and get it there. I'm not going to do another whole watch list on this, but this is another one we focused on, and many other ones. The Corning and the Verifone, which I've been banging the table on buying after earnings on a gap down. And if you bought the earnings gap down today, you're sitting pretty like we're doing right now. Look at this. We actually picked it up back up here. It started moving up, and then it was off to the races. And I expect this one to put in a bottom. Now, we already have a nice profit on it. Doesn't mean that, but I am expecting to get a little bit more upside on it and then sell into it. But this one is one of my favorites for the year because it's a long-term kind of base here. So we could eventually move back up into the top part of this base and possibly even out and up and out. But we already got a nice profit, and we're going to kind of maintain that profit. So if we get any further more upside, I might end up taking it off. That's it. Try to keep it near 10 minutes long. Great week. Have a great weekend. I'll see everyone on the show. www.daytradingradio.com. We have the futures up around the clock. Sunday futures open up at 6 to get us an early look at the markets. And remember, if there's any breaking news that affects the markets, then all bets off the table. All right. Have a great one. I'll talk to you Monday.